Homepage Design, and I will be your guide. My name is Tom Pantasis, and I'm an instructional designer with the Office of Distance Education here at Westchester University. So just to give you a sense of where we're headed today, we're going to talk a little bit about best practices for homepage design. Then we'll make sure to kind of cover the various aspects that go into a layout. We're going to look at some actual examples from Westchester faculty, and yes, we do have permission to use their web pages. And then we'll talk briefly about widgets before I actually go and do some demonstration of how you can do these things in Desire to Learn. So that's our plan for today. And I'm going to start here with a couple of questions about what you see on the screen. This is the default homepage that Desire to Learn puts on a course. And so I want to ask you, and you can answer either in the chat or with your microphone on, what does this page tell a student about the course?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Yes, that is correct.
Tom,
so
can
another question.
Monica hear me? Or should I?
She should be able to hear you.
Okay.
So, is this page welcoming?
Not really.
Nope. Does the page orient a student towards what they should do?
It almost suggests that they should create a news item.
It does, doesn't it? I'm not sure if they actually get to see that create a news item or not. I think that's more a faculty view. But it does suggest that, doesn't it? Does the page encourage engagement with the course?
No.
Yeah, Monica, you can just like keep typing no for these questions if you want. Does the page foster collaboration?
No.
No. Does the page establish a community of learning?
Nope.
No. Is it friendly and easy to navigate?
Pretty clear.
Still no.
But yeah,
We're sorry?
Really easy. It's not very friendly now.
No. All right, so the last one. And is the page overwhelming? I don't think it's overwhelming. That's probably its one positive quality.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at another page here. And we'll go through the same list of questions again. So is this homepage, hold on, let me start that. What does this page tell a student about the course? It does tell a lot about the course. So there's lots of information here. What else? It does show a picture of Dr. Osgood there. So you can immediately put a face to a name, which is always helpful. That does mean a lot. Yes, you have an overview of course material. In particular, you kind of have an outline of the various weeks of the course with what look like links to be clicked. So let me ask the next question. Is this welcoming? The lounge image is welcoming, okay. Okay, yes, and that in this particular instance, that banner is used across multiple courses in the program. So it does kind of help students know, hey, you're in the right place. Friendly faces, yes. I think we could have done a little better job with the diversity in those friendly faces, but that's okay. All right, so let me ask another one of the questions because those are all good answers. Does this page orient a student towards what they should do? Yes, and where it says course updates, this is actually taken later in the course and he had changed what was in course updates. But when he first posted it, that video there was a welcome or introduction video. So yes, that's excellent. And that would certainly make it very easy. I'd also say that the week one, week two, week three, make it pretty clear. All you have to do is figure out what week you're in, and then you click on it and you'll get the information that you need. Does the page encourage engagement with the course? Yes, it does. Much more so than the last one. That's an understatement. Um, it definitely is way better than the previous one. I would say that the faculty student lounge certainly encourages some engagement. The links to get in with the weeks encourage engagement, and the faculty member making it clear how to contact them encourages engagement. So yes, I would say that. Does this page establish a community of learning? Yeah, I would agree. The lounge perhaps has that opportunity there. Um, some people have said in the past the fact that he's posted a video about how to get through your doctoral studies without going insane is kind of one of those touches that helps uh, encourage the community amongst both students and the faculty member with a little use of some humor, some regular language. Yes, that's good. Is this page friendly and easy to navigate? Yeah, I think so. Good use of visuals and images, the very clear organizational structure. So the last one, is it overwhelming? Yeah, I think it can be a little overwhelming. Although in comparison to some other ones that I've seen, this one's not too bad. It is very well organized, which helps kind of cut down, especially since there's so much information here, that organization plays a key role. So one last kind of statement that I do here. Uh, which of these two pages is face-to-face and which is for online? And you can just say left, right. Which I want to know, sorry, which one is face-to-face? Was it the left one or the right one? Well, Michelle, that's a great comment because being not sure is really what I was going for. It really doesn't matter if you teach face-to-face, blended, online. Setting up a good homepage is going to convey a really great first impression for students when they get in there. It is the one on the left. You were correct. This is the same professor, two different courses that she teaches. She tries very hard to make sure that there's a good first impression when students first get into a course, no matter what type of course it is. And obviously the information on the page changes a little bit based on the type, but you'll see there's some things that she can maintain consistently from course to course. So now that I've said all that and you've seen a couple examples, this is the best practices document that we have on our website. The 6 statements that you see there are the statements of the questions that I was asking when we were looking at the two different home pages that were up there. So when you need to go look, have I done the things I need to do for my homepage design, and you want to find this best practices document, I don't have it. It is on our website, and I can show you that when we get into the sandbox in a few minutes if you really want to know exactly where to go to get it. So that ends the best practices portion. I think those were fairly straightforward, but do you have any questions about those before I move on to layout? Okay. Michelle said no, and I'm pretty sure Monica will say no because she's seen this presentation and at least this portion so far already. So, all right, layout. Home pages have 4 big components to them. Um, the navigation bar at the top will have your course title and the standard course links. That navigation bar is editable. You can manipulate the links if you want to. I would only encourage you to do that if you have a really good instructional reason to do so, because you're messing with some consistency that students are used to when they are in desire to learn. So just keep that in mind. The header is typically a widget, a box that goes all the way across the page. In fact, it has to go all the way across the page, and usually that gets used for a course banner, and that's about it. Sometimes people will do announcements or news items up there as well. The body is where most of the homepage work is done, and there's a couple different layout choices that will occur there, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then the footer mimics the header in that it's one box all the way across. That one's probably the section that gets used the least. When you're designing a homepage, you can use all four of these items or portions of these items. You always have to have the navigation bar and then at least one of the header, body, or footer options. But you don't have to use all of them, and how you use them, you have some control over. So I was talking about some of the different layout options in the content area, that middle portion, the body. So you have three column choices. The single column, which you see here, where it's just all it fills the whole screen, one column, one thing, set up one box, followed by another box, followed by another box, followed in one long kind of scrolling setup. Uh, the one thing about that I will say is that tends to be how things work on mobile devices. So if you don't have too many boxes worth of information, you may want to consider this as an option, although it's not used all that frequently. The most common option is the double column for the body, and you've seen this homepage before, and you can see how there's two columns going on underneath the banner, which is in the header. He has his course modules, course update, then faculty lounge, student lounge, and about this course, and he might have a few more going down the page. Now, how those columns are laid out can change a little bit, and you'll see that in a second. And finally, the last option that you could potentially do, and the most elusive, the one I see least frequently, is the triple column. And you can actually have three columns worth of information. You have to be careful with this because it starts to get very busy very quickly. So something to keep in mind as you're thinking about how you want to design a homepage. So I just talked about those different layout options. Here are the layouts as you would see them in Desire to Learn. So at the very top there where it says one just panel, that's single column. And then you can see basic, basic plus, large left, large right. Those are all double column styles. Then large middle and three equal are the three column styles. And then at the very bottom, the one that I think gets used the most is two equal panels. That goes back to a double column style. So when you're first thinking about a home page, you have to pick one of these layout designs. So it's important to make sure you kind of have a sense, I want two columns, I want three columns, I want one column. The one used in 701, which is, I'm assuming you're referring to the one that we've been looking at, the good one, was the two equal panels, which is at the very, very bottom of this list. I don't know why they decided to stick it at the bottom. My guess is it was added after these other ones were put in place. So let's look at some examples of how faculty members have done courses here at Westchester. So this is two equal panels and two examples. Both of these have appeared before in my presentation. You can kind of see two different approaches. One uses smaller boxes, one uses longer boxes, but two different ways of doing that. In both cases, they have, no, the footer is one box all the way across, but you can put boxes on top of boxes on top of boxes within the body. So you can kind of create it so whatever you want towards the bottom is the very last two things. Here are two more equal panels coming out of the nutrition department. One thing I would like to highlight with this presentation is that some programs have decided to do some consistent things from course to course to course. In this case, they use a very, very similar banner design where the Master of Science in Community Nutrition title is very prominent. The image box stays the same design. The only thing that changes is the image inside it, and then the course title. They also want to make sure that the module section is in the upper left and the news is in the upper right, and then after that it's up to the professor. So you can see here with these two examples side by side how the different personalities of the professor, of the instructor, come through in terms of the information they choose to communicate and how they choose to communicate it. So this is two examples of a large left panel where the column on the left-hand side is larger than the column on the right-hand side. So You can also see here how we can manipulate some of the color that goes on the pages. The one on the right, Sandy Walls, we actually took that logo off of her textbook and then used the coloring, some of the coloring from that for those header portions of the different boxes. And this is a course that is only a half semester long. It runs in conjunction with another half semester course. And so we used the blue color on that one for 417. So you can see how you can utilize some different color components. I like this one because it forces you to kind of stay with the important stuff on the left, and then you can put some of the things that are important but don't need to be as prominent, like your information and the support widget on the right hand side in smaller boxes. Two more examples of the large left hand panel, but with some different uses of the boxes. The one on the left, the communication research one, he actually used a box to convey the information for each week's worth of content learning activities to students. So, and you see that there with the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Weeks 2 through 5 are minimized right now, but they could be opened up so that they would look like what he has in week 1. I don't recommend this for regular fall and spring semester courses because you'd end up with 15 boxes, which gets to be pretty long. However, for winter and summer sessions where you're shorter weeks, this isn't a bad way to do it because you're cutting down on the need for students to go any further than this homepage. And some professors still do 15 weeks worth of boxes. It really just depends. And then on the right, the financial accounting page, he uses the news very heavily. So everything runs through that news column. And then on the right-hand side, he has the links to the various homeworks and homework solutions and lectures that he needs students to have. And that's it. He doesn't get them any further than this. Students can come to the homepage, get what they need, and move on. He does utilize no, each box's technical term, Michelle, is a widget, actually. When we say module, what we mean there is a unit or a week's worth of material. Typically, it's a week. You don't have to organize in weeks, but most faculty members stick to that fairly traditional organizing style. So I hope you're getting a sense of how a homepage is really quite customizable. Well, one other thing I want to point out that I didn't mention on the financial accounting, the one on the right, if you look in the navigation bar, you'll see his navigation bar is much tinier than the typical ones. And that's because he really doesn't use any of the other tools. And so he doesn't need students getting lost in those. He keeps it very minimal. So moving on. Let's talk a little bit about widgets. That's a great segue there, Michelle. All of those boxes on home pages are called widgets. Each box is a widget. And yes, they do have to be squares or rectangles because that's just the way that they're designed. One of the exercises that I encourage faculty to do when they are planning a home page is to take some sticky notes and treat each sticky note as a box on their web page and kind of write out what information they want to include in each box. And then they can arrange those sticky notes on a piece of paper or on a desk to kind of get a layout idea for what they want. So for example, if you want a banner, that's one box. So they'd write banner on a sticky note and they'd stick that at the top of their planning area. Then they might say, you know, course schedule, that's a box. My biography information, that's a box. The support information, that's a box. And so they can kind of fill it out and create a layout that they like before they get into the course and actually make it. The other thing about widgets to keep in mind is that some of them will be made by the university and made available to you automatically. So for example, tech support is a widget that's automatically in there. All you have to do is add it to your homepage. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So let's move on. Widgets can be divided into two types. System, which are widgets that desire to learn the company has already created. News/announcements, I think it just changed from news to announcements, is a system widget. It's automatically in your course. No one made it except the company of D2L. Same thing for calendar or the role switcher. So anything that's a system widget was made by the company, it already exists, it's in there. We actually don't use that many system widgets. What we end up doing is we end up making our own custom widgets. And custom widgets can either come from the university, like the tech support widget, or you can make them. So you see here 4 different custom widgets on the right-hand side. The course modules was a custom widget. The course updates, the lounge, about this course. Um, so typically you end up making most of the widgets that you end up using. So with all that said, I think it's time to switch over and take a look at how you make a widget and how you add it and kind of to a home page and make a home page. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull up a share widget, which should have just appeared. And I'm going to share my screen. And you should see Desire to Learn has appeared on your screen. Let me just make sure. No, sharing screen is not a widget. That's I'm using Adobe Connect right now. Uh, so it would be great if it was, but um, yes, that would have been pretty awesome. We'll have to file that one away. So what you see here is the default home page on Desire to Learn. So there's kind of two different ways, as with everything on computers, there's always more than one way to do it. Two different ways to get in to the area where you can edit home pages and widgets. And they are connected, so if you can get to one, you can get to the other. The way I like to do it is down in the lower right-hand corner, there's this little gear symbol, which when I click on it, takes me to the home pages and widgets area, which you see on the screen. Returning to the course home, where you first come, the other way to do it is up where it says course admin. If you click on course admin, then you should see that there's an option for home pages and an option for widgets. Now, if your course admin doesn't look like this, it could look like that, in which case it's alphabetical and you'll have to look for them. I think widgets would be the last and course home pages is somewhere, I don't know. But I like to keep it organized by category, and so that's what's here. So the first thing we're going to do is, before we can make a home page, you have to have the widgets, the boxes that go on it. So we're going to go to the widget area. Now my custom widget area has a lot of stuff in it right now. Yours would not be nearly this crowded. But one thing I do want to highlight, you know if a widget has been made by the university if you don't see the first two icons in front of it. So anything that doesn't have 5 icons, only has 3, was provided by the university and is available to everyone. So for example, distance education support is a support widget for distance education courses. The face-to-face version is just called technical support. But there's a writing center widget. And if you use clickers, there's a clicker registration widget. And I think there's also support for media site widget. So there's some different options that are out there. And I think we're going to see a few more of these start to appear from various organizations as the word about these kind of spreads. Monica, widgets don't transfer from course to course unless you transfer them. They can be copied. Home pages and widgets can be copied from course to course. And I would actually encourage that for some that you use over and over and over again, like your short little bio widget. I do that a lot. So I can show you that here in a few minutes. Now we're looking at my custom widget screen. You notice there's also a tab for system widgets, but I never go there, so don't worry about that. To create a new widget, there's a giant button at the top that says Create Widget. So we're going to click on that. Now, the name for your widget, this is important for you, and this is also going to appear on the home page if you want it to. So I'm going to demonstrate doing a simple bio widget. So I typically say about, for me, it's about your facilitator. For you, you can say about your instructor or about your professor. Now, I really want to know what the programmer was thinking that made it so that you have to go to this content tab to actually put in the information that you want, because this description box makes it seem like you should do it there, but you don't. Do not put your actual content here. That description box is just for you. So I encourage faculty to ignore it and go to content. This is the information that will display for students. So I might type my name, my email. I can put whatever I want here. I am awesome. I mean, I wouldn't actually type that, but you could. Whatever you need to put, you put the content there. Like phone is always good, office hours. Some people will put a picture in. Some people don't. I would encourage you to think about putting a picture in. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. The easiest way is to ask an instructional designer to help you. Um, some people will use the table tool to create a box for their image and then a box where they can put their information. There's HTML code you can use that lets the picture stay on the left or the right and the text kind of flows around it. There's a couple of different ways to do that. Some people will put the image in just at the top and then have their information below. Lots of different ways to do that. This set of toolbars is the same no matter anywhere in Desire to Learn where you're editing content. So to add an image, you would click the Insert Image button and find it from your computer or from somewhere else in the course. We've already added it. I'm not going to do that right now. I've added the content that I need. I hit Save and Close, and I have a brand new widget about your facilitator right here at the top. You can see I did one called About Your Instructor. It stays in the course. This library is course specific, Michelle. So I have a lot in here because it's my playground, it's my sandbox. I do a lot of testing in here. I might build something in here and then copy it over to another course. If you want, I can kind of show you that. I definitely will show you how to copy in a minute because I actually have to make a copy. So let me finish this process and we'll get there. I would continue to make my different boxes until I had them all created. I don't need to do that because I have other ones here. But create a widget is how you make your boxes. Even if you don't have all the information that you need, you can kind of start it and add a comment about finish adding information so you remember to add it. Because once they're accessible on the homepage, it's really easy to edit them quickly. But before you do your homepage, you need to have the different boxes created. Now it's time to do homepages. And I said earlier, homepages and widgets are connected. So here at the top, I can click on homepages and I just slide right over to the homepage area. Now, again, I have a few more visible than you will. Anything that's black is coming from the university as a default. You can't edit those directly. If you wanted to make a change to one of those, you would have to make a copy of it and then edit the copy. Anything that has the blue is one that you've made and you can edit that. You edit it just by clicking right on it. Okay, so I'm going to make a new one. So I'm going to hit, sorry, I didn't highlight that. The Create Homepage button lets me make a new one. And I'm going to call this the Webinar Homepage. That title is just for you so that you know what type of homepage it is. And it's particularly as you get more comfortable with this and might be making more, I like to name them typically after the course where they come from. You can enter a description, you don't have to. Again, it's for you. We stay on widget base. You can ignore the header piece for right now. And you see here this layout option right here. This is where we click change layout, and lo and behold, here's our options, which should look familiar from my presentation a few minutes ago. You pick the one you want. So does anyone remember which one I liked the best? Not the bottom one. I like the bottom one, but my favorite is not the bottom one. So let's see if Monica can guess. You can guess again if you want, Michelle. The fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, large left panel. That's correct. So I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to scroll down. Now, when I selected the layout, you see down here under the widget section, it's showing me those different boxes. And there's 4 different add widget buttons. It doesn't matter which of the add widget buttons you select. You just pick one. And now the list of widgets appears. And so I can say I want my About Facilitator, I want announcements, I want a banner, I want the distance education support. I place the check marks next to the ones I want and I hit add. And now they popped in, but they're all in the header and I don't want them all in the header. So I just drag them where I want them. So I want distance ed support here. I want announcements at the bottom. I want the About Your Facilitator to be very prominent and the banner at the top. Once that's done, I hit save and close. And I go to my course home and you'll notice nothing has changed. And the reason for that is because I did not turn on that home page. This step gets forgotten often. You've created your widget, you've created your home page, you've added the widgets, but you forget to activate your home page. So let me ask a question. Who remembers how to get to the homepage widget editing area? The gear on the right. That's right. I'd like to do it that way. So here I am at the homepage editing area, and there's a spot right here that tells me that this first homepage is the active one. And right above that, where it says active homepage is a drop down. This is where I can select the homepage that I want to make active. So I'll select webinar homepage and click the apply button. And if I scroll to the bottom, you'll see my webinar homepage is now active. So now when I click course home and I go, here is my not so lovely homepage, but that's okay. But you can see the different widgets that I added. So that's the very basics of creating widgets, getting them on a homepage, and getting a homepage up in your course. When you make a new course for your class, the options that you will have for homepages will only be the default ones. Nothing carries forward. Homepages, just like widgets, are specific to a course. You can copy them from one course to another. So once you have a homepage design that you like, that's what I encourage you to do. And I'm going to show you that here in a second. I'm getting there. I know you want to know that. One thing about editing these widgets once they're in place, the little drop-down triangle next to the title, if you select that, you can edit. And then I can go to content and I can make my changes. Changes! And save and close, go back to course home, and it'll be right there. All right, so since we're eager to see copying, let me get myself in a position to do that. So when you're making a copy, you go to the course that you want to bring things into. So in this case, I have a brand new course that I'm getting ready to put together. I go into course admin, and there's an import, export, copy components option. And you can copy more than just home pages and widgets. You can copy a lot of things from course to course. So the next thing you need to do is you need to search for the course where you want to get the information. And I'm going to do that one. Now, I encourage folks to select the individual portions of a course that they want to bring over. And these are all the different parts of Desire to Learn where you can bring things over. I want to bring over specifically just a widget. So I come all the way to the bottom, I select widgets, and I'm going to select even further. I'm going to pick the specific widget that I want. I'm going to hit continue. And now it's showing me the widgets that were in the course that I'm copying from into this new course. And I just want the About Us widget. Yeah, that's all I want. So I'm going to hit continue. It's going to tell me what I'm going to copy, and then I hit finish, and it'll bring it over. It's the same process for a home page, making those same selections. One thing to keep in mind is that if you're bringing pictures over as well, you have to remember to go get the picture file, which is sitting in your course. Yes, I will repeat that for you in just a second. So course admin, import, export, copy components. And you're in the course that you're bringing things into. So you're in your new course. You search for the course that has the materials you want to copy into the course that you're currently in. So in this case, it's an online faculty development program that I ran this summer. So you find the course and you add it, and it shows up here. And then I select components. I almost never copy everything. Very rarely do I hit that button. So for widgets, you would come down to widgets and then select individual items to copy. And I know that's towards the bottom of your screen, and I do apologize. I just can't get it any higher. For home pages, it's right here. And because I need to bring something else over, I'm actually going to go right into the course files. But the screens are the same. They will just change based on what's there. Like this is all the files in the course. I have to get my picture. I gotta remember where it is. Here it is. You select the items that you want, you hit continue, and then you hit finish, and it runs the copy. So I think I covered everything. I'm happy to show something again. I would strongly encourage you to have a plan before you get into the actual creation portion. Um, Things can be copied from course to course. So developing a bio or some standard things that you're going to use across all your courses is a great idea to do. Um, D2L Services is capable of helping with this as well as Office of Distance Ed. Um, I tend to help folks who come and ask me, no questions asked as to what course it is, under the assumption that at some day you will be teaching a distance education course for us. Um, so I could justify it that way. Now, are there any questions? I'm going to ask one more question of you all if there isn't. Okay, good. Um, so I just copied over a widget. Why isn't it showing up in this course? Well, my homepage is activated, and that's a great thought process um, because I didn't copy a homepage, I just copied a widget. And I do want to put it on this homepage, but that was a great thought. I don't want to knock you down a little bit. Just because you copied a widget doesn't mean that widget is on the homepage. So I would have to go add it to the homepage that I want. And I actually don't have any new home pages in here. And I think, Michelle, you asked what a new course would look like. This is what it would look like. You have 3 choices right now. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just start my new one. I'm adding a widget. Put the news into, which is now called announcements. Save and close. Now I have to activate it. And voila, there I am. Yes, that's right. You're just copying them to the widget library. So I still have to put it onto a home page and then make sure that home page is active. And I can actually edit this now. Once you've made the copy into the course, I can change this widget and it's not going to change the original. So in this instance, this was coming from a course where I was co-facilitating and I had a co-facilitator in the About Us widget. I can now delete it and the original widget is still fine because it's just a copy. It's a brand new widget that was a copy of the old one. Okay, I'm going to check that question, but unless I need to screen share, I'm going to come back and end things for us here. That's a great question about awards. Um, I'm not sure because I haven't had enough time in there. I believe there's a copying component to that too, but I can't answer that with certainty yet. I think someone would be happy to explore that with you if you're planning to use it, either D2L services or us here at Distance Ed, if it's for somehow a DE related course. But I'd be happy to hear the answer if you do find out. I'd love to know. I think there is a component of needing to copy it. So thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you found this helpful. The recording will be up on our YouTube channel probably by the end of today. Just a reminder, we have well, it's really just support now. Does run after hours. You or students can get help if it's a distance ed course Monday through Thursday, 8 to 8, Friday, 8 to 4:30, and Sunday, 12 to 8. So please do take advantage of that. The information is down there. Don't forget our schedule. We're going to have webinars most Fridays during the semester, so please check back in with us so you can learn a few more things. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, and thank you very, very much for being here.